Hello everyone, Ramati here. Today I'll be teaching you how to play the Orbal Wars trading card game. Orbal Wars is a 2-player card game where each player brings their own deck to battle against their opponent. At the crux of the game is your source deck. These 14 cards are used to play other cards. They also double as your life total. If you deal 1 damage to your opponent while their source deck is empty, you win the game. Card anatomy. Every card has a name, denoted in the top left corner. An orb wheel in the top right, which is used to play the card. Beneath the card's artwork is the card's type, which determines how it is played. Across the card type is the allegiance. Certain cards have effects related to the allegiance of cards. Beneath the card's type and allegiance is the card's effect presented in the white box. Certain text in italics may provide clarity on how cards are played. This is reminder text, and will always be in parentheses. Any other text in italics is flavor text, and can be ignored for gameplay purposes. Unit cards have 2 additional parts: CR, short for combat rating, and Spirit. These are used in battle, and will be covered in detail at a later point. Source cards, such as orbs, do not have an orb wheel and often do not have an allegiance. Zones. There are several zones in Orbal Wars. The field refers to all cards in play. All units in play exist solely on the field. The skill and trick zone is where skills are played and tricks are prepared. These cards are also on the field in addition to being in the skill and trick zone. The source zone is where all your source cards enter play, and where they return once unattached. Like the skill and trick zone, cards in the source zone are also on the field. The camp serves as your discard pile where cards go after they are used up. The camp is not part of the field. There is also a separate section for each of your source deck and main deck, neither of which are on the field. Setup. Begin the game by shuffling your 40-card main deck. Once both decks are shuffled, randomly decide who goes first. Your source deck is not shuffled, and you may look at it at any time. You may not look through your opponent's source deck, but you are allowed to ask them how many cards are left in their source deck. Then, draw 5 cards. From here, each player, starting with the player going first, can put any number of cards from their hand on the bottom of their deck, and draw for each card they put on the bottom. This is known as a mulligan, and can only be done once before the game begins. After both players have finished their mulligans, the player going second draws an extra card. Now you are ready to play. A single turn in Orbal Wars is divided into 4 phases. In order, they are the start phase, source phase, main phase, and end phase. Start phase. The start phase is the first phase of a turn. Before performing any actions, resolve any effects with start of turn. If a start of turn effect causes another effect to resolve it at this time as well. Next, engage all of the active players' disengaged cards. This is done by turning them from the horizontal disengaged position to the vertical engaged position. Finally, draw a card. Source phase. During the source phase, the active player may choose to take 1 card from their source deck and put it into their source zone as engaged. It is recommended to take this action during the early turns of the game. Main phase. The main phase is the bulk of your turn. During the main phase, the active player can perform any of the following: play units, play skills, prepare tricks, activate effects, and attack. They may perform each action as often as they like. They may also perform them in any order they wish. Orb requirements. To play a card, the player must have the required amount of engaged orbs in play. Each non-source card has its orb wheel in the top right corner. This denotes how many of each orb must be used to play that card. When playing a card, take the required number of orbs and attach them to the card by placing them under the card. Only orbs in the engaged position can be used to play cards. Playing units. When a unit is played, place it on the field and attach the required orbs. The orbs must remain attached to the unit while it is on the field. Units remain on the field until they are defeated. If a unit's CR is reduced to 0 or below, it is defeated. Place the defeated unit in the camp. If a unit does not have enough orbs at any point, it is sent to the camp. This does not count as the unit being defeated, but is removed from the field. Be sure to finish resolving a card's effect in full before checking if a card has enough orbs. If a unit is played by a card's effect, orbs must be attached as normal. Playing skills. When playing a skill, attach the required orbs to the skill and place it in the skill and trick zone. Resolve the effect of the skill by performing the effect written on the card. Once the effect has finished resolving, disengage the orbs attached to the skill by turning them sideways and place the skill in the camp. If a skill tries to resolve while not having enough orbs attached, it is sent to the camp without resolving its effect. The orbs that were attached to it remain engaged. Preparing tricks. To prepare a trick, place it face down in the skill and trick zone. No orbs are needed to prepare a trick. Each trick has its own play condition. The play condition is always the first thing written in the trick's effect box. When that condition is met while the trick is prepared, it can be played by turning it face up and attaching the required orbs. Resolve the effect written on the trick. Once the trick has finished resolving, place the trick in the camp. If a trick tries to resolve while not having enough orbs, the trick is sent to the camp without resolving any effects. Orbs attached to the trick remain engaged regardless of if the trick resolves. If multiple tricks are trying to resolve them in the reverse order they are played. Activate effects. Certain cards have effects that can be activated during the main phase. Declare you want to activate the effect and perform the action. No orbs are needed unless stated by the effect. Certain effects like entry, defeat, and attack activate automatically when its condition is met. Effects that start with once can only be activated once per turn per card. If a player has 2 of the same card in play, each card can activate the effect once per turn for a total of 2. Effects that start with named once can only be activated once per turn per player, regardless of the number of copies in play. Attack. To attack, the active player chooses one of their units and disengages it by turning it sideways. The attacking unit can choose to attack their opponent's source deck, or one of their opponent's disengaged units. When attacking the source deck, if the attack deals at least 1 CR of damage to the source deck, the defending player takes damage equal to the spirit of the attacking unit, and puts the same number of cards from their source deck in their source zone as engaged. If a unit with 0 or less spirit deals at least 1 CR of damage to the source deck, no damage is dealt to the player and no cards are placed in the source zone, however hit effects still activate. When choosing to attack a unit, reduce the CR of each unit equal to the opposing unit it is battling simultaneously. For example, if a Foul Academic with CR 5000 attacks a Fire Sprite with CR 2000, the Foul Academic CR would be reduced by 2000 to 3000, while the Fire Sprite CR would be reduced by 5000 to -3000. -3000 is 0 or below, so it would be defeated. CR changes last for the entire turn, and the same unit can be attacked more than once per turn as long as it remains disengaged. For example, a Nature Sprite with CR 2000 attacks a Yenix Warrior with CR 6000. The Nature Sprite's CR would be reduced to -4000, causing it to be defeated, while the Yenix Warrior's CR would be reduced to 4000. Then, if a Foul Academic attacks the same Yenix Warrior, the Foul Academic would have its CR reduced by 4000 to 1000, while the Yenix Warrior would have its CR reduced by 5000 to -1000, causing it to be defeated. Ambush attack. If a unit attacks on the turn it entered the field, it ambushes instead. As an effect of the ambush, disengage all orbs attached to the attacking unit. Follow all usual procedures for attacking when ambushing. A unit can ambush even if its orbs are disengaged. Links. When a player attacks either a source deck or a unit, the defending player may perform links to guard against the attack. To link, choose units in the hand that have at least 1 orb in play for each different orb type in their orb wheel and declare them as a link. For example, to link with a Foul Academic, the defending player would need to have 1 Nature Orb in play. To link with a Great Abyss Denizen, the defending player would need 1 Water and 1 Dark Orb in play. It does not matter if the orb is engaged, disengaged, or even attached to another card. Linked units do not deal damage, but will take damage before the original attack target. Multiple units may be used to link for a single attack. If multiple units are used, the defending player gets to decide in which order the linked units are attacked, but enough damage must be dealt to the first linked unit to defeat it before damage can be dealt to the second. At the end of the attack, send all units used to link to the camp regardless of how much damage they took. End phase. Once the active player has decided they no longer wish to take any more actions this turn, the turn progresses to the end phase. Begin the end phase by resolving all end of turn effects. If an end of turn effect would cause another effect to activate it, resolve it at this time as well. Next, return all units to their printed CR and spirit values. With that, the turn is over, and it is now the other player's turn. CR changes. One of the most common effects are changes to CR. All CR changes last until the end of turn, unless stated otherwise. Some effects have an ongoing condition to change CR. This effect is active as long as the condition is met, even between turns. If a unit's effect says to change CR, but does not specify whose CR to change, it changes its own CR. Spirit changes follow the same rules as CR changes. Extinguished Orbs. Certain cards may require you to extinguish orbs for their effect. To do this, turn the required number of orb cards face down. Any extinguished orbs attached to cards are no longer attached to those cards. Extinguished orbs cannot be used to play cards and cannot be used to meet the requirements of linking. Extinguished orbs remain face down until an effect causes them to be unextinguished, at which point they are turned face up in the engaged position and can be used like normal. Deck customization. As you play more Orbal Wars, you may collect more cards that you can use to change your strategy. When customizing your deck, you must have a main deck of 40 cards and a source deck of 14 cards, for 54 cards in total. Units, skills, and tricks go in the main deck, while orbs and other source cards go in the source deck. Additionally, no more than 3 copies of the same card can be used in your main deck, and no more than 1 copy of a card may be used in the source deck, with exception to basic orbs. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I hope you enjoy Orbal Wars, and welcome to the Realms.